So record. It says recording, so I think we're good. All right. So this is just going to be a quick review. I think the homework questions was that I gave to you was just to like help me timestamp some of the old lessons, which helped you review, so that's good. But additionally, there was the total. Okay. So there's some queries in here. So I'm just going to go through them because I know you already looked at these. So I'm just going to go through these queries. Let me just share screen. Okay, now you should be able to see my screen. You can see it, right?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and open the database. We haven't touched this since November. That's the last time it was edited. So yeah, it's been a little while. Oh, I probably should mute let me just make sure I muted my phone. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna do these queries really, or actually you're gonna help me do these queries. I think that's probably the best way to do this. Let me just update this little thing right here because we're now in 2021. It is the January the 24th, and it is 1700 hours. Okay. I just like to keep this like updated because it kind of tells me when the last time. I mean, you can like kind of go to the file and see when is the last time you updated the file, but this is more reliable because since you're setting this yourself, you basically can say when is the last time you made changes. So the thing is, like, if I close and open this access, like, this access file, this data is going to update every time I like do anything, but this date only updates when I do it. So it's kind of just like a way for me to track like the last time I decided to do something. So yeah. All right, so let's just go through these. I'm gonna delete all these old homework queries. I don't think we need to keep these. If you want to like, I mean, there's some sample queries right here if you ever need to like look at stuff as a sample.
Well, I want to keep a few of them just so I have them for reference.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna undo. I'll leave these all in here. I undid the delete, but I don't want these to pile up too much because generally you're gonna write your own queries whenever you need to, you know, get whatever data it is you need. All right, so let's start with the first one. Give me the total cost of classes that every student is taking along with their names. Okay, so what this tells me is total cost tells me we're going to be using an aggregate function, first of all, because sum, we're getting a total. Sum is an aggregate function. Cost, I believe we have class cost in the table classes, right? Okay, so we know we're going to be getting from table cost or table classes. So total cost at every student. Okay, so I think we're going to probably be pulling students too. So let's go ahead and say table students is taking along with their names. Okay, so I think this is kind of the key information you need to know to get this to do this query. You're going to need to use an aggregate function, and you're going to need to join these two tables. That's what you're going to have to do to answer question number one. So did you try this yet or no? I think you said you tried at least all of them, right?
I did look at them, but I mean, I was kind of stumped by the first question because they want like I don't believe I've done a query where I have to take
Joins.
info from multiple different tables.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if you've done joins. Okay, we can come back to that. Well, you know what? I'm just going to do it in front of you so you have a reference of me doing it. But I think you might be right. I did give you instruction on how to do joins, but it's probably been a while, so I'm just going to do it. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna do it. Do you want me to do it the SQL way, or do you want me to do it with the interface?
Well, we've been doing SQL for the past few lessons. It's been a while. For the past few lessons, we've been doing it in Sql View, so we probably should do it in Sql View because that's what I was learning last.
Okay, sure. So we'll do the SQL way. Hopefully I remember how to do this because as kind of we already discussed, Access SQL is different from regular SQL. So there's like a specialized way of doing this, but I should be fine. I think I'll be okay. Right, so SQL View. So we know we're gonna have to, I'm just gonna say select star first of all, which means get everything. Let me just make this easier to see. Can you see that over here on the side? I think, okay.
Yes.
All right, so from, we know we need the, I'm gonna start with students actually. Is the text too small? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
That's kind of small though. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Well, we'll deal with that later. So select star from table as students. Let's see what that gives us. Cannot find table. Okay, so I must have did it wrong. Yeah, I did it wrong. There's an underscore. All right, so first give me all the students. Okay, cool. Got all the students. And then let's join to our bridge table. So we'll say, we'll do an inner join. Actually, I think we can just say join, which is the same thing as saying inner join. Bridge classes students. We'll call this CS on s dot student ID equals CS dot student ID. And then I just got to wrap these in parentheses. And let's just see if we're still, oh, okay. I said John instead of join. There we go, join. There's still an error. Where did I mess up? I guess I have to, do I have to specify? I might have to specify. If it's, yeah, okay, it wants me to say inner join. Some SQL products let you just say join, but inner join, join, same thing. All right, so it looks like it's getting information from the students table and from that bridge table, which is right here. So it's showing me everything from both. Now you might ask yourself, I don't know if you remember this or not, but when you join, it matches every possible combination. So it's going to give you it's going to give you student every time it finds that student in the bridge table. Does that make sense?
Could you repeat that?
All right, so you might be wondering why it repeated the student. It's repeating students. Do you remember why that is?
No, I do not.
Okay, so even though this student only exists once in the students table, which is what I just opened, when I did my query, the student appears multiple times. Why? Because when we joined it to classes students, I'm just going to organize this by student. You can see that this student appears 4 times in the bridge. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, so you're getting everywhere. You're getting everywhere the student is in both tables because it's a bridge.
Yes, and it's going to multiply. It's going to multiply whenever you have a bridge like that that has that many or one-to-many relationship. Meaning, for every student, there can be many combinations of class student. You get what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
Right, because like even though Jade is just one student, she can be in many classes. And so when you go to this combo table that tells you what student has what class, this student has this class, this student has this class, this student has this class. So there's a record for every instance. All right, so we're not done yet. We only joined to the bridge. We also fully need to join over to classes, because even though now we can tell you or tell what class Jade is in because we've got all these class IDs, we also want to know how much money she's spending, right? So we're going to need to like actually get costs, and that's going to be in your classes table. So it's not enough to join to the bridge. I'm going to go back to the Sql view, and I'm going to inner join to table classes, and I'm going to alias that to C and say on CS dot class ID equals C dot class ID. So let's see if that works, or did I mess up? Oh, no, that worked. Okay, cool. I got so used to like autocomplete doing stuff for me. Okay, great. So now we can see, and you know, I'm gonna just sort this by name. So do first name and then last name, and then you're gonna see, because I'm saying select star. Oh, I probably shouldn't maximize that because it's hard for you to see what window I'm in when I maximize. All right, so for this query that I just wrote, I'm not quite sure if you understood everything I did here, but I said give me students, and I want to link that to the bridge and then link that bridge to classes. So we've tied 3 tables together. And once I've tied those 3 tables together, what this data looks like is basically the combination of all those 3 data sets. And you know what? I sorted that data. I should not have done that because I told you not to use these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that sort. And this little thing says clear all sorts and let it just go out of order. And what I'm going to do is, since we're practicing actual SQL code, I'm going to show you how to do that down here. Order by s dot last name, comma s dot first name. And so what this is going to do is the exact same thing I just did when I was clicking those little drop downs. It's going to say, and you know, I'm not even going to say just that. I'm going to say last name ascending, which is ASC, and first name ascending. All right, so what that's going to do is now it's going to say prioritize last name and sort this whole record set by student last name. And then the secondary sort, like if you have the same record or someone has the same last name, then you're going to sort by first name. So it's going to go in alphabetical order by last name and then first name. So instead of me clicking these little sorts, you kind of should know how to do this with SQL code. So that's what I've done here. Now, I kind of don't need all this information. The homework question did not call for this information. It called for total cost of the classes that every student is taking. Okay, so what do we kind of want to know? Oh, along with their names. So we kind of want to know the student name. All right, that's pretty clear. So student last name, first name. We want to know their names. And we also want to know the cost. And I kind of want to know the class name too. So I'm going to say, give me s dot last name, s dot first name, c dot class name, and c dot cost. And there we have it. What this gives me is I say, hey, I linked all these tables together, and that's all the from. But then once you've linked these together, I want the names from table S, which is the student, and I want the information from classes, which is table C, and I want the class name and cost. So once it's kind of given you the combination of this data set, you're going to tell it what information you want. So we're almost through with answering this question. We can see the costs of the classes that the students are in. But so this question didn't ask you for class name. The only reason I returned class name is I wanted you to see what kind of information we can return by joining these 3 tables together. So you can get all this stuff from those tables. So next, what I'm going to do is do the final part of this question, which is get the total cost of the classes, right? So we don't want to say, hey, Aaron is in this class, Aaron is in this class, Aaron is in this class. We want to know, hey, for this person, Aaron, we want total cost, not every individual class. So the way we do this is we have to group by. So I'm going to do that. And the group by comes after the from and before the order. So you're going to have to go back to a previous lesson to kind of see the order these clauses come in. But I'm going to put the group by right here. And I'm going to say we're going to group by last name and first name. And that's it. And now if I run this, this is going to error out. See, it says, hey, you can't do that because class name is not a part of an aggregate function. Now, the reason you can't do that is you can whenever you use group by, it means you're about to collapse a bunch of records together. And when you do that, anytime you select a field, it has to either be in this group by or you have to use an aggregate function on it. So we are grouped by last name and first name, so we're allowed to use those fields. So I can just do that, and we're allowed to use those fields. But to get things like cost, we have to use an aggregate function if we're not going to put it in the group by. And again, this was in the past lesson on group by. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say, give me the sum, because that's an aggregate function, of C, which is the class cost, and view. Now, that is the total tuition of, yeah, one sec. That's the total tuition now. And so now, oh, I didn't alias this field. Yeah, it says expression 1002. I'm just going to say sum cost as total cost. So now I've aliased it. Okay. So this is now the answer to homework question 1. the total cost of the classes that every student is taking. So every student that has a class, this is how much they're paying in tuition when you add up all the costs of all their classes. So go ahead, what's your question?
So we can go back to Sql View. Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it over here so you can just see it a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna up the font. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, okay. So, hold on, all right, there we go. So that's the query I just used a little bit bigger so you can see it. That's what I wrote to answer homework question 1.
Okay, so hold on, let me look. So it looks like you got stuff from table students, and then you also join the bridge. So after I'm looking at the join because this is a new concept.
Right, the join is recent for you, so I understand if you probably don't get that right away. That's a little bit complex, but
one other thing I wanted to bring up to you
yeah.
was when you were aliasing things from table students, you didn't put table students as S, and then in the join you said table classes C. You didn't put table classes as C. It just says table classes C.
Yes, you're right. I should say table students as S. Bridge classes students as CS. Table classes as C. Right.
It just
I
makes it more
should do it
clear for
that
me,
way.
at least.
And yeah, exact same thing happens, but you're right. The most verbose, clear way to write it is that. It's just, again, I'm used to writing SQL in SQL Server, and you can do this in SQL Server too, but these days, most people, they don't write it all out. They just do that, and everyone knows what they mean. But yes, for the purposes of instruction, I should write out as, just so you can see. In fact, even over here, I didn't have to say sum c.cost as total cost. I could have just said this and I could have just said total cost on the end and it probably would have worked. But just for the sake of clarity, let's just, in fact, let's find out what happens if I do that. Okay, so in Access, you have to say that for fields. You have to say as, and then it'll work. Okay. Again, SQL works differently in different places. For example, if I was like querying off of a Mongo database, it has its own version of SQL. Obviously, SQL Server, MySQL, which is MySQL, PostgreSQL. There's a whole bunch of different flavors of SQL, and they're all kind of similar, but they all have slightly different syntax rules about what you have to say. But you know what? That's very minor. I will write it out for you, but as long as you can understand what's happening here, you should be able to, query any SQL-based database.
Okay.
So do you see what's happening here with this first question, what I did?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
It's been like 2 months, so we're definitely going to have to review. We're probably going to have to review this a couple of times, but don't you worry. You'll be back, right back where you were very quickly.
Okay, so I got what's going on with the order by. See what's going on with the group by. And the from clause. I'm just confused about the joins because it's pretty much just like it's adding on to the from clause, and it's saying that it wants the bridge classes students as CS, and then it says on as student ID equals CS student ID.
Yeah, you know what? Let me jog your memory just for the sake of these joins. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the relationships table, just so you can see and remember how that's working. Maybe that'll help you see what's happening here. Oops. Just going to move that here, move that here, move that here. Like maybe that'll give you a little bit of clarity of what's happening.
Okay. Oh, I see it now. Now that I see it in the relationships view, I kind of see it.
Yeah, because these tables are related. So if you want to know information about both of these things, you need to go through this, right? Because we're getting information that pertains to student, and we're getting information that pertains to class. So to get them both, we need to link them together somehow. And this is the table that does the job. of linking them.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see.
So you have to join, right? So you could even do something like say, I don't know if you remember this, but we had another homework question. I encourage you to go back into that homework question where I said, tell me what student has what professor. And you had to link all of these together. I don't know if you remember that.
Actually, that one was too advanced for me, and you did it with joins and showed me how to do it.
I see. So yeah, I would still go back and look at that one because it's very similar to what I did just now. When you're getting information about one thing, but you're also getting information about another thing, then you need to link to that other thing by going through the tables, and you're gonna have to link all the tables in order to get to it, right? It's like a kind of like a spider web. You can't just jump from here to here. You have to navigate the web and go through all the links. And that's what we did with code right here.
I know, I'm still looking at it. I'm trying to see if I'm missing anything.
And then later, there's going to be like very, there's going to be a lot more. There's going to be things like grades. There's going to be things like attendance. There's going to be, it's going to look like a spider web once we've added more tables. And you know what? I may start adding more tables soon so that I can give you other kinds of questions. Because this is a very simple structure. And yeah, it's maybe a little bit too simple. So maybe if we have time after finishing these questions, I will add a few more tables so you'll have more data to work with.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand what's going on with the inner join. It just looks like you also took information from class of students bridge,
Yes.
and then you wanted and it says as CS, and then it says on student ID. So you want the student ID, and oh no, you want the here. I'm kind of confused because it says S student ID equals CS dot student ID.
Right.
I'm
So
like, so which one are
CS,
you getting? Like, are you getting just the class of students ID, or are you getting the student ID? Like, which one are you getting? Are you asking for both?
I'm getting both. I'm getting student ID that's in the student table, and I'm getting student ID that's in the bridge table. And I'm linking them together.
Oh, that's why you put equals, right?
Yes, because you want to match this student ID when it's equal to this student ID.
Oh, okay, I see.
All right. And that's what that link is. You're saying, hey, how do you know which student belongs to what record or when they're the same?
Okay, I see.
Here, let me remind you by basically showing you what this bridge looks like.
Who yeah.
Who is this?
That's Jade.
Correct. Now, in order to tell that this is Jade, how would you tell someone to find out who this is?
Well, there's a couple ways. You can have them like go flip through all the 100 students in the student table.
Okay, sure.
Or you
But
could
just
just
describe
make
to me. Let's just figure it out right now. I know nothing about this database. Who is this?
You'd have to get a write a query to figure it out.
Not necessarily.
No.
No.
Well, it's one.
That's
it's
one way to
student
do
ID
it.
one. So
Right.
you could honestly just go to
Tell
the
me
table.
right now, I've never seen this database before. How am I going to find out who this is? Just how would you do it?
Well, here's the thing. It's number one, so it's going to be at the top.
Okay.
So that one would be pretty easy to find.
All right. So how do I find it? Show me right now. Like I've never seen this database before. I've just opened this random table and I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of information here. Okay. Who is this? What do I click on to find out who this is?
You could just double click table students.
Okay, sure.
Student
Let's
ID.
go over here.
And you match up the student ID from the bridge with the student ID in table students. And that's how you know.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm matching up the students table with the bridge table, and I'm matching those IDs. This student ID is equal to this student ID. They're the same. That's how I know who this is.
Okay.
And then if I say, okay, Jude, who's this?
Well, here's the thing. That one will probably be tougher to find. And you could do the same
it's the exact
thing.
same difficulty to find. You use the exact same strategy.
What if you have like thousands of students?
Yeah, what if you have thousands of students? Same strategy. That's the magic of IDs.
Yeah, how are you going to scroll all the way through to find that ID? Like, how would you find it?
Well, there's a couple of ways. You can go here, number filter equals, and what number was that?
28.
28.
Oh yeah, there's Quentin Acidophilus.
Right. So what I did was I said drop down number filters equals, and then I put a number. Okay, that's what you're telling the computer to do. You're saying, hey, the student ID has to equal whatever it is in this other table. So you're saying, hey, when you find a student ID over here, match it to what you find over here.
Okay. Well, another question. How would
Yes.
you know what order to write the code in if you can't see the relationships table?
You should look for this relationships, but yeah, not every SQL platform has this. What you would do is instead read the fields and you say, hey, student ID exists in this table and this table, right? Like you wouldn't even have this link. You would just open something. You would just open up two tables and you would say, hey, there's a student ID here and there's a student ID here. This data is related. And so you know you can join because it's the same field.
Wait, could you repeat that?
Okay, so because this field name is student ID and this field name is student ID, you know you can join these two tables together because it's the same name.
No, but I'm saying like you told me like it's important to like, I think you said this. You said you have to like when you're using joins, you have to like write it in a certain order.
That's right.
In order for it to work. And I'm saying without seeing the relationships table, how would you know whether to put like, for example, where can you click on your notepad?
Sure.
Where it says, inner join bridge classes students as CS, alias it as CS, and then on S student ID equals CS student ID. Like, would it change if I flip those around and put CS student ID equals S student ID?
No.
Or is it the same thing?
It's the same thing. In fact, you don't even have to do it in that order. You don't even have to say students, then bridge, then classes. You could say bridge, then students, then classes. You could say classes, then bridge, then students. You could say classes, then students, then bridge. Actually,
because
no.
You're matching
actually, no.
Right?
You can't say classes, then students, then bridge. Wherever you start, you have to follow the links. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by that. I just said you can do students, then bridge, then classes. Why? Because you're following the links, like you're following a spider web, right? You're just walking along the web. You can also do classes, then bridge, then students. Why? Because you walk here, you set up a little bridge, you walk to here, you set up another little bridge, and you walk to here. Okay, that works. You can also start with bridge, set up a bridge here, you can walk over here, then walk all the way back here and set up a bridge here. So you go this one, then this one, then this one. You can do that because you're doing it in order. You cannot start on classes and then join students. Why? Because there's no link from classes to students. You need to bridge yourself between here first.
Okay, I noticed you didn't exactly do it that way. With your join, you started with the bridge classes students, and then you saying, "Oh, match."
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that too.
Hold on. Let me.
You can join in any order you want as long as they're all linked together in the end.
I know. Hold on. I need to read it again. Okay, so
I'll describe it in a different way if that helps too.
Okay, yeah, that'll probably help.
Yeah, okay. So here's what you should do. Think about joining, because you're right now you're asking me what order do you pull the tables, right?
Yeah.
Any order you want, that works. So just pick an order and I'll tell you if it works and why it works.
Okay, so to get the same answer, right?
Yeah, and you'll get the same answer. You can do this in any order that works. So let's just go through it. What order do you want to do it in?
Okay, so could I do from table students, C, inner join?
Okay, let me write it out as you're saying it. You said from table students.
I said from table classes.
Oh, from table classes.
Differently.
Okay, you said from classes.
as C,
Mhm.
and then inner join bridge classes students as CS.
And what are you going to join it on?
I was going to join it on. Hold on. CS equal or CS dot student ID
Okay.
and R equals S student ID.
Equals what?
S student ID.
Okay, so this won't work, and I'll tell you why. We haven't declared students yet. S does not exist yet.
Oh, I see.
So this won't work.
What would it work if I added another inner join and said table students like under this one? If I put inner join like.
Well, we're not there yet. So this already will fail. The computer reads things in order. So it's going, it's going, it's going, it's going. It's like, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, not fine. S doesn't exist.
Okay,
so it doesn't matter if you put it on the next line. It doesn't exist yet. So the computer would stop reading right here and say, we can't do this.
Okay, so I would have to put C dot, or I'm sorry, C dot class ID.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No, the other way.
Well, you can see all the IDs here. So you can tell, you know, you got C, CS, and S. You can tell, wait, your options right here.
Okay, so can I delete that for a second where it says C class ID and put CS dot class ID equals C dot class ID.
Okay, this is fine. Why? Because C already exists and CS already exists. So it's going to read this and it says, okay, you want classes. Okay, you want this bridge and you're going to join this bridge with CS.class ID and C.class ID. And yep, what do you know? That's a relationship that exists. So it's fine. This will work.
Okay, I see.
Right? Because this is already a relationship that exists. So, yep, that works.
And then for the, I have to do the next part too, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then it'll be another inner join.
Yep.
And this
And
time
we got to wrap parentheses, unfortunately. That's just how that works across the first join.
Okay, and then we would need to add or bring in some data from the student or from the table students.
Yep.
So we would put inner join table students as S, and then we would put. And then we don't need the bridge because we already have the bridge. So we just put
on
as S on.
Because we have to pick something to join on. We're basically telling it what the relationship is.
So it would be on CS dot student ID equals S dot student ID.
Yeah. Yep. And so, yeah, this is totally valid, and this will give you the exact same results as if we did what I did.
Well, we should try it though, just to be.
Sure.
I mean, I believe you. I just want to see.
Yeah, sure. Let's see it in action.
A weird order.
Yeah, let's see it in action. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grab your from and drop it in.
Oh wait, we didn't add. You forgot. We didn't finish it yet.
What did we not? What did
we didn't put the group by or the order by.
Oh no, I'm just replacing my from with your from. So I just dropped it in. It has my group and my order and my select.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I'm gonna hit view, and there you go.
Okay, I see.
So you're right though. You do need this whole thing. It's just I only needed to copy your from because I just moved it into where my stuff was. So yeah, but if you look at this, all I did was put in the from that you created, and as you can see, it worked the exact same way. It told us what each student pays total in amount of tuition.
Okay, another question. I mean, I was able to do that join pretty much on my own.
Sure.
But I have another question.
What's your question?
So you're asking for the total cost. So it looks like from the beginning of the query that we wrote, you wanted the first and last name from the student table, For the top one. They're both the same thing. Never mind. We can actually. So we're using joins. It's both the same thing. So looks like we got the first and last name for the students. And then you set the sum of the of c.cost. So that's the table classes dot cost as total cost. So I'm wondering how it knew how many classes. Oh, because of the bridge, huh? That's how it knew how many classes and was able to add the sum of the cost of those classes, and then you aliased it as total cost.
Yes.
Or you concatenated it as.
That's right. The information about how many classes a student has is contained in this bridge. You can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Student 2 has 5 classes. So that information is here. You don't need to tell the computer, okay, go count all those. It just knows because that's the nature of the relationship.
Okay.
See, you can come here and say, yep, student 10 has 3 classes. And you can like look and be like, oh, student 52 apparently doesn't have any classes because I can't find them in this table. You can tell a lot just by looking at this bridge table.
Yeah.
And that's what the computer is doing. It's telling you a lot just by looking at this relationship.
Okay.
All right, so you can review this later. We need to move on. So I'm going to move on to the second one. And lucky for us, I believe we can use the exact same structure to, do I have anything else open? No? Okay. I think we can use this exact same structure to solve this next one. The average tuition for a student by gender. Ooh, this is much more complicated. Okay, so tuition, which is the total class cost, which I've already described. Oh, look, we're already returning that. Fantastic. And you want the average and we want by gender. Okay, sweet. So this is actually going to be very similar to the first question. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that first query, and I'm just going to modify this. I've copied, I'm going to copy your version, which as you can see, I've copied your version. And I'm just going to modify this to basically give me the information I want. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the group by, because I know that we're not going to be returning names. Oops. Or I'm going to remove the order by. Oh, and the group by, because we don't care about names anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of both of those. We don't care about names. And we don't care about names. Get rid of names. All right, so I'm going to run this, and this is not the answer, but I'm just going to run this just to see if like my code is still running. Oh, great, my code is still running. What do you think this is telling me, though? What do you think that this number is?
It's telling you the total cost of all the students that have classes. It's telling you the total cost of their tuition.
Correct. It's every student's tuition. Because I just said, give me the cost of every single class and every single student has. Because remember, we linked to students. So it's just giving me, it's like, just give me everything. What's the total? So we're pulling in, 1.4 million for the semester. But that's not what we're trying to get right now. We wanted to know what was the average tuition per student by gender. So let's break this down by gender. And we know that's in the students, so s.gender. And when you group by, if you remember correctly, you also can throw it up there in the select. Remember? And you can have things that are
you actually have to put it in the selector. It won't run, right?
No, you can. The only requirement is if you have it in the select, it has to be in the group by. But if it's in the group by, it doesn't have to be in the select.
Oh, I haven't done it in a while. I thought it was the other way around.
No, it's the opposite of what you're thinking. If it's in the select, it must be in the group by, unless it's in an aggregate function. That's why we're able to put cost here, because it's not in the group by, but we have it in an aggregate function, so it's okay. Whereas if you put it in the group by, it is not required to be in the select. But yeah, I hope that's perfectly clear. You're going to have to just review that from last time. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to drop this in the SQL, and now let's see what shows up. Now we've grouped by gender. And what do you think this totals up to, just roughly?
Oh, both of them? like 1.3
1.4 million.
1.4 million.
Right, which is the number we just saw. So by basically saying group by and then selecting that, we basically split up what that total was into two different groups. You got your female group and you got your male group. Turns out your men pay a lot more money at this school than your women. But that's not what we're trying to figure out. We're not trying to find out what it is for everyone total that the school pulls in. We're trying to find out how much does the average individual male or female student pay. So we're going to change this from sum to AVG, which is average. Because sum is total. We want the average by the gender, not the total for each gender. And there you have it. The average female pays $10,882. The average male pays $11,513. And those are your averages, your average total cost for your people.
Okay. Yeah, I see how we got that.
So it's very similar to question 1, except instead of getting totals from names, we're getting averages from genders. So very similar concept. We just did something a little bit different. And if we wanted to, we could even say order by s.gender, which is not really going to change it because if you look, it's already kind of in order of alphabetical order right here.
Unless you want to put ascending or descending.
True. We could change this to descending.
That would, here's the thing, I'm not sure if you put it in descending, whether it would...
alphabetical.
Okay.
So
how do you know, like, you have to tell it to like do it by numbers, right?
No. Ascending is always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like just from the lowest number to the highest number. And ascending alphabetically, the computer just already knows it's from the lowest letter to the highest letter. Ascending works the same, whether it's numbers or letters. The first ones to the last ones. And descending is the opposite, last to first.
Okay. So I was wondering, like, just on a quick review thing. I was saying, you said it did descending, or it did it did hold on. I believe, like, when you said order by gender descending, then you did it from last to from first to last, right?
Descending is last to first.
Descending is last to first.
Ascending is first to last.
Oh, okay. I see.
Ascending means like the numbers are getting bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or the numbers are getting to the end numbers. First numbers, 1, 2, 3. Last numbers, 8, 9, 10. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but you were saying that we do it out. Our descending actually does it. The descending and ascending does it alphabetically. So did it do it from, like, did it order by like the male and female, or the total cost?
No, because I said order by gender descending, not cost descending. I could change that. Yeah. So if I say order by average cost descending, then, or let's go ascending. Average cost ascending. What number do you think is going to come first?
The $10,882.
Correct, because that's the smaller number.
Okay, yeah, I got it. I was just making sure I had that right.
Good. Okay, so let's move on. And let's go to the third one. Give me the name and amount of the students paying the highest tuition. Okay, so again, this is going to be very similar to problem 1. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy that query, and we're just going to modify that. So this time we know we're dealing with students and tuition again. So we know we're going to just get information from this exact same set of tables. We don't even need to change this. Again, same set of information, except this time we want name. Yeah, okay, that's already there from question 1. Paying the highest tuition. So if you think about it, if we just put the exact same query from homework 1, you can kind of just figure out just by looking at it who that person is. And it looks like it's Alvarez. Looks like they're paying the most. But you can't just look at the data and tell me. You're supposed to query the data to tell me. So I'm going to show you how to do that. What you're going to do is you're going to say select top 1. And let's go.
You couldn't say, here's the thing, you have sum and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you still need that, because couldn't you just put max cost, like max c dot cost?
No, you can't, and I'll explain why in a minute. So let's say select top 1. Oops. And view. Hey, that's not Jade Alvarez. You know why? Because when you say top, it goes by the order you chose, right? So what that means is when I said, give me the top of the information that I just got. Oopsie, what did I just do? Oh, I got to get rid of 1. Yep. So when I said, give me the top 1, who's on top right now? Aaron Ackerman. But I want the top person by cost. So I must say order by the total cost, which that is how we get the total cost. So order by that instead. You following so far?
Yeah, let me read it. So you said group by first name. Here,
Hold
go back to the
hold on a
notepad.
second. Okay.
So it looks like you so it's like the top 1, the students, some of the costs, who's paying the most, and looks like you said group by his first name,
Mm-hmm.
and then order by sum of cost ascending. Okay, so
This is incomplete. I'm not done yet. This is going to give me the wrong answer. This is going to give me the lowest cost. I need to order by who's paying the most amount of money. So I'm going to change that to descending. Ah, now it's correct. And that's how you query the person paying the most money. It's very similar to question 1, but we only want the top record.
okay,
is the number 1 person. But notice, I also had to change the order because at first it gave me Aaron Ackerman. And it gave me Aaron Ackerman because they were the top person by name.
Okay, that's why you had to put order by the sum of the costs descending, because the way you ordered it, the way you grouped it. No, sorry, the way you ordered it.
The way I ordered it, yeah.
You put the sum of the cost of that class from that student in descending order, meaning the highest amount to the lowest.
Correct. So basically all we did was we took that very first query, and you just explained it to me, but just for clarity, I'm going to explain piece by piece what happened. We took that first query and we said, don't give us everything, give me the top one. But before you give me that top one, because it's ordered by names, we want to order by largest to smallest, otherwise known as descending, and then give me the top one. And as you can see this order? The top of this order is who's paying the most.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, so that's how you answer that question, number 3. All right, let's proceed to number 4. Give me the name and amount of the student paying the lowest tuition. So you should be able to answer this because it's very, very similar to homework 3. What do you think we need to do to answer question 4?
Give me a sec. Don't tell me. I think there's an easy way to do this.
There absolutely is.
I think the only thing you'd have to change with the query is instead of descending, put ascending.
That's absolutely right.
Exactly what you need.
That is absolutely right. We just changed that to ascending and hit view. And yeah, we accidentally answered question 4 while we were reviewing question 3. I don't know if you remember that, but we actually pulled this record before.
Yeah, we did. I think actually we didn't.
I definitely did.
No, it was Aaron showed up, not
Yes,
Jim.
and then after that I pulled this record. Don't worry about it. I remember doing it. Accidentally. I didn't even remember what question 4 was. I was just writing out the query and I wanted to step by step show you the actions I was taking. And that's it. That's how you answer all 4 of these questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control S to save this review. And I'm going to go ahead and close this up. And that concludes review for these questions. That's it. So I'll send you this so you have it. And I'm going to write you some new questions. And then you're going to try to solve those, and we'll review again. So this session is purely review of concepts we learned in the last, I guess, season or semester. Or there's no really formal structure to this, but this was just kind of a review of some of those concepts. There's nothing new in here. Anything here is stuff we've already gone over previously. So yeah, next time, same thing. So I'll send you this so you can like kind of, I don't know, I guess review it. And then I'll send you new questions to go with this so you can solve those too. Anything else before I close this session?
No, that should be it.
Okay, sounds good. And you sent me all the timestamps, I think, already, right? So
Yeah, I did.
I think I need to go back and like actually add those on. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing screen, and yeah, expect an email from me.
Oh, you're still recording, by the way.
Yeah.